Okay. So you have your auction. It gets called once, twice, three times, not sold. What are your odds of selling or buying after the auction? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about a real life example last week.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Oh, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Billy Bob. Hi,
How-
everyone.
Hi, man of hope. Man of hope. Tell
Hello,
us.
hello, friends out there. Um, Billy Drury, real estate agent, had an auction on the weekend. We had lots of conversations with the sellers. Had another one
Yeah,
prior to that in Monavale. A lot of conversations with the sellers. Um, and it's quite unique, this whole auction thing, that there's so much momentum and so much energy going towards that day and that day of auction. We wanted to talk about the emotions and the feelings and the likelihood of owners getting their price or a greater
yep,
price after the auction. Does it happen, or do they crash it and burn it and sell it for less?
yeah. Well, before we get to the real life example, we're going to give you a snapshot for Sydney over the weekend. Clearance rates across the city, 65%. This time last year, 64%.
Same.
64% last year, 65 this year. Tell
Much
us,
better.
as an agent of many years experience, what's considered, normal, and what's considered great?
What in terms of clearance rate percentages?
Yeah,
Oh, look, if they get up towards 80%, that's a really sharp market, or more. But once you're down to sort of 50%, it's troubled times, 40,
okay.
50%.
So
So
we're,
it's actually really good. It's good. It's good clearance rates.
we're sitting somewhere in the middle. So from that, there was 857 auctions scheduled across the city. 509 those were reported back. 329 sold, 137 withdrawn, 43 passed in. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there's big volume being done. That came to about $358 million and a median sale price of 1.462 million. So there you go. That's Sydney on the snapshot.
It's Sydney, and I've got to tell you about a conversations I always have with people that we're selling for, and it's something that I never see publicised out there. I don't think agents like to talk about it, and I don't think it's such internal dialogue with sellers that that buyers don't hear it or you don't see it on media. And it goes a little bit something like this: 1/3 of the time when I'm selling something, it fits in exactly with these numbers that you're talking. Funnily enough, 1/3 of the time we sell prior to auction. 1/3 of the time we sell at auction.
Yep.
1/3 of the time we sell post auction. And you'd never really hear that discussion much about the deal getting done, all of the deals getting done prior to the auction day, and all of the deals getting done after the auction day. It's
Yep.
after the auction day, there's a little bit of, what's the word, like, you sort of, not embarrassment, but it's like, oh my God, we didn't get it done within those 3 weeks of the auction.
Yep.
And you got your tail between your legs as a seller and an agent a little bit, or there may be good reason for it. But
Yes.
it definitely, that 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 thing, it's real.
It's real. And do you think there's a 30-30 and 30 because of price? People sell beforehand at auction or after, depending on the price, or is it sometimes the term? Sometimes it's just too good to not sell prior. It
Oh, look,
allows the next move.
I think people believe auction is the antidote, is the holy grail, is the everything. For me, it's merely a process. So it's in order to get to where you got to get to, you've just got to follow that process. That process, mate. The conclusion isn't necessarily on the auction day. The conclusion's prior, after, at the auction, but the conclusion, which is the sold, will happen.
Yep.
But I do think people get confused that it's got to be done that minute, that hour, that day under the hammer. Not at all. If anything, probably most of it. If you look at those odds, 66% of them are actually done not at the auction. They're done prior or after.
Yep. And I think it opens up sometimes a wider fishing net to buyers that sometimes can't attend an auction. So as a vendor, sometimes they like to hear a bit of price feedback beforehand from groups if they can't make it on the auction day itself. Still get them involved.
Yes.
Still include them, and then the same afterwards. Believe it or not, sellers, even on week 4, sometimes the day your auction's actually booked for, you will still have new faces turning up, brand new buyers turning up saying, I've not seen this online. It's the strangest thing. You might be on all the websites, you might be on all the social media, but you'll still have brand new people starting their search.
Can you believe it? So I think we cannot forget that it takes two to tango. So if you're a tenacious buyer, you've got and you've just got to buy the property prior to auction. So you should have the right to buy before auction, make a great offer, and if it's a above market offer, why wouldn't you sell it if you're an owner? If it was so above market. And the same thing is if you're a buyer and you're tenacious about the price that may be under the owner's expectations, you have that right, and you buy it after the auction or during the auction or after the auction as well. That's the beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. Pressure and expectation is what auctions are about. Consumer thoughts. Good morning, Luke.
G'day, Luke. I'm gonna see Luke on Wednesday. I think make no mistake, and for anyone who doesn't know this, our selling systems and our legal system with property is envied around the world. We have by far the superior methods of selling and conveyancing property, and even financing and funding property, compared to most countries in the world. We are the apple of the eye. Is that the apple of the eye? Eye of the apple? I don't know. Whatever. What is it? Around the world, it is so good that people look at our systems and the way we do it. So, even though auction is, a lot of pressure for people, it is very finite. It's great to happen on a day. It's great to happen on a date. And it's actually very concise. You get to look around the room at who's bidding, who's buying. You get to eyeball more often than not the vendors as well in the auctioneer. It's a scary, if you told anyone around the world how we do auctions in Australia, they'd actually freak. I know I've got a friend of mine that's been trying to introduce auction systems to the United States of America for the last 15 years. Very, very, it's very hard to do. It's not common what we do.
Yeah, interesting. But it is a transparent way to buy property nonetheless. So that's one good thing for a buyer, and for a seller, it's a really fair way to truly understand market value. When delivered properly, you're bringing the best buyers from the marketplace to all sort of show where they see value. So it's
Billy,
great.
in conclusion, are people selling for less after the auction? So if you're a person selling the property, and I get that we're acting for the vendor, and I get that we may be selling hope, but the reality, do people, if they don't sell at auction, do they have to take a hit after the auction, or do they do better after the auction if they don't sell under the hammer?
It's definitely not one size fits all, but in our weekend example, we ended up selling for more. There you go.
You know, and I do have to say, that's the great thing about property. You own it. It's your baby. You're in control. You're totally in control of the process as a seller. So don't certainly don't feel bamboozled by that auction process.
Yep.
It should be a fun process. It should be a happy process, and I do think having a great auctioneer, you know, helps that.
Yes.
You know, it's takes away that serious and sharp edge of that auction process. But mate, definitely for me, you know, with selling after the auction, I more often see owners get more um, than less
After,
after.
there
Yeah.
you go. Okay.
So
I
if they do hold out for their price, often they will get it. Um, I've had horrific examples of the opposite where they didn't get that at auction and it went less. And again, I don't, Billy, I don't actually think the you can look towards that process and say higher and lower. It's so unique for the individual person, for the individual property, for the individual circumstance, for the time of year, for the time in the economy. There's so much that's going in that concoction
Yep.
to make up that price and that auction. It's purely not the auction process that's defining I'll get more after, I'll get more before or during. There's a lot that goes into that cake to make up that sale.
Absolutely. And really turning back and looking at what are your backup options. That's where your true safety net is. If you
Yeah.
can rent the property afterwards, if it's an investment, that's great. Maybe even just put a tenant in for 3-6 months. Keep it on the market, you know, online, and then you just organize with the the agent and the tenant to get one-off inspection access. Then you're not paying double marketing because you've already done the hard work. So that's another big thing for anyone that's not selling at an auction. If you're online and you've done all the hard work getting yourself there in the first place, don't be so quick to pull it off the market because you won't pay a cent more to keep it on there.
That's auctions. Have a great day.
See you, Mark. Have a
Have a
good
good week,
week,
everyone.
everyone. Bye.
Obviously.